Your name has been in rooms you were not in, spoken by someone who cannot seem to find a conversation that does not eventually lead back to you, who starts a sentence about one thing and arrives, without fully intending to, at you again, who has been making you a presence in conversations with people who may or may not know you, who may or may not understand the full weight of what is being said, but who are receiving steadily and repeatedly the specific, detailed, involuntary portrait of someone who is profoundly missed. You painted in words in every room they have been in without you. I want to begin with the talking, because the talking is the part of this reading that tells you the most about the interior state of the person I am reading for you, and it deserves its full examination before we go anywhere else. There is a specific quality to how they talk about you. It is not the talking of someone who brings up a name strategically, who mentions you in certain conversations because doing so serves a purpose, because it positions them a particular way, or produces a particular response, or engineers a particular dynamic. That kind of talking has a quality to it that is visible to anyone paying attention. It has calculation in it, management, the specific, slightly effortful quality of a reference that is being placed rather than simply arriving. What they are doing is entirely different. They are not placing you in these conversations. You are arriving in them uninvited, surfacing without a clear trigger, appearing in the middle of exchanges about entirely different subjects because whatever they are saying keeps touching something that connects back to you because you have become the reference point, because so much of their interior landscape is organized around the specific fact and the specific quality of you. That ordinary conversation cannot travel very far without running into you. They are not talking about you on purpose. They cannot help talking about you. Let me describe what the talking actually sounds like, because I can feel it in the energy and I want to give you the specific texture of it. It starts differently each time, not as a formal discussion, not as a sit down, let me tell you about this person I have been missing kind of conversation. More incidentally than that. Someone says something and they respond, and the response contains a detail that is yours. A reference to something you said or something you did or some quality of how you exist in the world that they encountered, and that left a specific lasting mark. And then the conversation shifts slightly in the direction of you, not because they decided to shift it, because the detail opened something in them, and the something needed a moment of expression before they could return to whatever the conversation was officially about. Those moments have been accumulating across multiple conversations with multiple people, people who by now have a remarkably specific picture of someone they may never have met, of your particular humor, of the specific way you say certain things, of how you handle situations, of what you care about and how you care about it, of the things you did together that left a mark that the talking keeps returning to. You have become a character in other people's understanding of this person's life, a central one. You have become a character in other people's understanding of this person's life, a central one. I want to describe what that portrait actually looks like, because I think knowing the specific content of what has been communicated, even indirectly, will help you understand the scale of what is actually happening. The portrait contains specifics that only someone who genuinely paid attention would have, not general impressions, not the vague, flattering, but non-specific kind of description that people produce when they are trying to make someone sound impressive. The specific kind, the details that can only be known by someone who was actually there, actually listening, actually present in the particular, close, genuinely attentive quality that real caring produces. The way you said a particular thing, the specific response you had to something that happened between you that revealed something particular about your character, the quality of your presence in a specific kind of moment that told them something important about who you are when you are being who you are without performance. Those details have been in the rooms. And the people in those rooms, even the ones who have never met you and may never meet you, have been receiving a picture of you that is more detailed and more specific and more accurate than many people receive from people who talk about the people in their lives all the time. Because they are not talking from memory of impressions. They are talking from memory of you. I want to speak to what the missing actually is, because the title names it, and missing is one of those words that gets used casually when what it actually describes is anything but. This is not a vague, generalized missing. It is not the missing of someone who simply has not seen another person for a while and would be happy enough to reconnect when circumstances allow. The ordinary, mild missing of someone who was a pleasant part of your daily routine and whose absence has left a small gap that other things have mostly filled. This is the missing of someone who has left a shape, a specific outlined, irreplaceable shape in the interior of the person who is talking about you. The kind of shape that other things keep not fitting, that the world keeps offering substitutes for, and that keeps producing the specific, slightly maddening quality of almost but not quite, of things that are close enough in one dimension but insufficient in another, of the specific cumulative discovery that what they are missing is not a role that can be filled by someone with the right general qualities, but a person, specific and irreplaceable, whose particular combination of qualities was the thing. You were the thing, and they have been discovering that in the specific, daily, unavoidable way that people discover things when the evidence keeps accumulating, whether they want it to or not. I want to speak to what their baby means in the context of this reading, because the word is intimate in a way that is worth examining rather than simply receiving as warmth. Their baby is not a general term of endearment. It is the specific expression of a particular quality of possessiveness that is only available between two people who have arrived at a certain depth of closeness, who have built something between them that is specific and shared and not available to anyone else in quite the same form, who have, in whatever time and whatever form the connection took, become something to each other that is not replicated elsewhere. The possessiveness in their baby is not controlling. It is the specific, slightly vulnerable quality of someone who has genuinely claimed another person as theirs in the interior sense, who has organized a portion of their interior life around the specific fact of this particular person, who has experienced the depth of closeness that allows the word there to carry the full weight of what it means when it is used that way, and who is now missing the person that word applies to with the specific full weight quality of that missing. They have been living with the approximation versions. The talking is the sound of the comparison running continuously in the background. I want to describe what that comparison actually produces in their daily experience, because it is not comfortable, and I think naming it honestly will help you understand the full weight of what is behind the talking. Every time something is good but not quite right, the comparison surfaces. A conversation with someone else that is pleasant but lacks the specific quality of how conversations with you felt. A moment of connection that reaches a certain depth and then stops short of the depth that was normal with you. An experience of being genuinely seen by someone, and the simultaneous awareness that seen in this way is not quite the same as seen in the way you saw them. Each of these moments adds to the account. Each of them is another deposit in the growing evidence that what is absent has a very specific shape, and that the world keeps offering things that approximate the shape without quite filling it. That accumulation is what has been driving the talking, and that accumulation is what is beginning to drive the forming decision. Let me tell you what the talking has been producing. Not in them, in the people they have been talking to. Because the portrait being painted conversation by conversation across whatever circle of people they move through is producing something in its listeners that I think you deserve to know about. Understanding the specific, gradually assembled, increasingly complete understanding of someone who is watching another person be genuinely, specifically, unmistakably in love with someone who is not currently present, who is receiving, through the accumulation of all these involuntary references and all these conversations that keep arriving at the same name, a portrait of a feeling that the person speaking is not fully managing to contain. The people around them know, not because they were told directly, because the telling has been happening in every conversation that was officially about something else and kept arriving at you. They know exactly how much you were missed. They know exactly how specific the missing is. And some of them have probably, in their private moments, developed the opinion that something should be done about it. Tell me in the comments if you have been sensing this from a distance. If there has been a quality of awareness arriving through whatever channel that suggests your name has been alive in the world in places you were not, that conversations you were not party to have contained you. Tell me if this reading is finding the right address. I want to speak to something about you that this situation is revealing, something that has been demonstrated by the talking, whether or not you have had direct visibility into it. You left a mark. Not in the ordinary everyone leaves some impression way, in the specific scale of impact way of someone whose presence in another person's life produced a reorganization that the absence of their presence has made undeniable. You reorganize them in whatever time and whatever form your connection with this person took, something in how you exist, how you engaged, how you were with them in the specific quality of your actual daily presence, produced a rearrangement of what they understand as normal, of what they expect from connection, of what feels sufficient versus what feels like an approximation of sufficient. Before you, a certain set of expectations. After you, different expectations, not because you tried to set new standards, because you simply were who you are in the full, unedited Virgo quality of someone who does not perform their care or manufacture their presence, but who simply brings it as the genuine, natural expression of being in something real. And that genuine quality, once experienced, makes the approximation versions of it very apparent in their absence. They have been living with the approximation versions. The talking is the sound of the comparison running continuously in the background. And who is now missing the person that word applies to with the specific full weight quality of that missing? I want to describe what that full weight missing feels like in practice, because I think the specificity of it, named honestly, is one of the more validating pieces of this reading for those of you who have been wondering whether the scale of what you sensed from a distance was accurate. It is. The missing has a physical quality to it, not in a dramatic, unable to function way, in the specific, intermittent, catches you at unexpected moments way that genuine missing operates, where something ordinary, a song or a smell, or a quality of light at a particular hour, or a turn in a conversation that echoes something you said, produces a response that is disproportionate to the trigger, because the trigger is not actually the song or the smell or the light. The trigger is you, and the response is the full size of the missing suddenly present in the surface of their experience rather than in the background where it usually lives. Those moments have been frequent enough to make the background missing visible as a baseline. They are not okay with the baseline. They have been doing the talking because the baseline keeps needing expression somewhere. And the expression is building towards something that goes beyond the talking. I want to speak to what is building toward you from their direction, because this reading is not only about what has been happening, it is about what has been happening is producing. A decision is forming, not fully formed, not yet at the stage of a specific plan or a specific next step or anything that could be called a strategy, but forming in the interior sense of something that has been a question becoming gradually an answer. That has been in the space of we will see, or I am not sure, or maybe eventually moving through the accumulated weight of the missing and the talking and the ongoing daily evidence of how large the absence is towards something more like direction. They are moving in the direction of doing something, not because they have figured out exactly what to do or how to do it or what the response will be when they do it, because the not doing something has become harder to sustain than the vulnerability of doing something. That threshold, when it tips, tends to tip completely, and the tipping is close. The specific final stage of someone who has been talking about their baby to everyone they know and who is approaching the stage where they talk to their baby instead. I want to speak to how you hold this information, because there is a version of receiving what I am describing that serves you and a version that does not. The version that serves you is receiving it as information, as a clear, accurate picture of what is happening on the other side of whatever the current distance between you and this person looks like. That the missing is real, that the talking is real, that the forming decision is real, and that all of this is true regardless of what you decide to do with the information. The version that does not serve you is receiving it as instruction, as a directive to hold space or wait or make yourself available or position yourself in a particular way in anticipation of what is forming, as a reason to organize your own choices and your own interior around what is happening in them rather than around what is true for you. Your choices remain yours. The information about their interior does not obligate your own. What it does is complete a picture that may have been incomplete, give you clarity about a dimension of the situation that was perhaps not fully visible to you before, allow you to make whatever choice you make with a more accurate map of the territory. That is what information is for. Use it that way. Let me close with one final image that I think captures the full texture of this reading. Someone in a room in the middle of a conversation that was supposed to be about something else, and your name surfacing, not because they decided to bring it up, because you arrived as you keep arriving, uninvited and specific, and carrying everything that the word there means when it is attached to your name. And in the moment of your name being in the air, something in their expression changes. Not dramatically. The specific, involuntary, only visible to someone paying close attention shift that happens when a person encounters the name of someone they miss in a way that has not found its resolution. The shift of someone whose interior recognizes what the name belongs to before the face has decided what to do with the recognition. That shift has been happening in rooms you were not in every time your name arrives, which has been often, you have been missed at a very particular level, Virgo, with a very particular specificity by someone who cannot seem to keep your name out of the rooms they are in without you. That is not a small thing to be. That is what it means to have genuinely mattered to someone. Not to have been pleasant or appreciated or valued in the general way that many people are valued by the people who know them. To have been the specific person around whom someone's interior reorganized itself in a way that made your absence the most present thing in every room they have been in, since your name has been in every room, because you have been in every room with them, even without being there. That is the measure of it.